Welcome to this week's Walk and Talk. As a recording of this Saturday, June 15th, 2023. We're actually doing this a day earlier than usual, and I'm glad we are because today marks the end of those sales for Arcade1up. Call them mediocre if you want. I think there was some value in some of these sales, and a lot of people did take advantage of that. We're also going to get into what we think is going to happen next with potential sales, along with some new releases coming from Arcade1up. So it does mark the end of that circle week. Mr. Fox, I had an idea for some toys for tots that we were gonna get from like Walmart, and we're gonna get into that also today. But I wanna take advantage of this last day of circle week. There are some sales that I'm gonna stop in at Target and we're gonna pick it up today. I did wanna take advantage of these sales. Today is the final day. It should say on the tag somewhere. Marks the end of circle week today, the 15th, and I want to pick this up. It is 15% off from $24.99 to $21.24. You know, not the biggest discount, but it is stuff. Well, there's one left here, and I want to get into why I want to get this for Toys for Tots versus something else, which we'll stop at Walmart, like we said before we went in here, in a little bit. But this is too good to pass up. It does come with the Flash, Batman, and the Batwing. Get some new figures of that new Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem movie. Notice this as we walked over here to grab that Batwing under the DC logo there. Did see the Turtles van here too. Now these are only sold at Target. What do you think of Splinter? And just going forward when we're picking out these toys, trying to find, like, utilize the money here. Trying to find two figures with a vehicle, or at least one figure with a vehicle. Not really sure how they distribute these, but just try to give every incentive for everything I get going forward. Had my eye on this for a long time. I'm glad we finally got it. Just over $22. What do you think, Mr. Fox? I think he likes it. Looks like he's a big superhero fan. Our next stop brings us back to the Garcade in Menomonee Falls. $20 free play. Where else are we going to talk Arcade1up? We're back at the Garcade. Also, I went with the Star Wars mod from Buy Stuff Arcades. And just a spoiler alert here, this is kind of where I got that wristbands required theme for our second show for this channel. We got our wristbands, we're good to go. I went with the Star Wars mod from Buy Stuff Arcades, and I thought coming back to the Garcade would be an awesome idea because we can look at the actual Star Wars arcade again. I do have the 23 release, but just seeing this in person, just on how deep everything is here. I mean, this is just a piece of art, and I stated after playing this the last time we were here, Arcade1up hit a home run with this flight yoke. I mean, the thing is perfect. Absolutely love it. And the games list, which we'll go over in a second here, this is a perfect form factor to play a lot of those flight games and racing games. And I can see why Buy Stuff Arcades went with this for their Star Wars cab. And to be honest with you, this is a cab that I haven't played a lot lately. Just kind of idles with the three games, Star Wars, Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi. Looking forward to over 200 new games on here. Can't wait to get this set up and do a review. And we're going to go over some of the other games in this arcade that can be on here, and really looking forward to this mod. Very hot day in Wisconsin. It's a lot cooler inside of here. Nice and dark, just perfect atmosphere. How an arcade should really be. You know, you have the neon lights. The only thing they're missing is that carpet, but Spy Hunter is another game. This is on the Buy Stuff for Ridge Racer and Outrun cabinets, also on the Star Wars. And looking at the steering wheel here, you know, if Arcade1up did this, we talked about they'd really have to nail it. I mean, this is extremely solid. When we just were at the Star Wars, felt a lot like the Arcade1up. I mean, this is something next level stuff Arcade1up would have to do. But you're getting this on the Star Wars mod, and just imagining that Star Wars flight yoke, you know, you have Traegers here. This will play very well, and I'm looking forward to it. And I do have this on my Ridge Racer, but I don't have any, you know, any buttons on that steering wheel. This will be totally different, and another reason to to think about getting that mod if you have Star Wars, either the 2019 or the 2023 release. Be a good time to braid up Ms. Pac-Man. Now this is currently out of order. Not seeing anything powering on here, but Arcade1up, you know, they showed us leaks of this from CES of that new Deluxe, and the images kind of went away. They went with Class of 81, Pac-Man, Mortal Kombat 2, followed by Fast and Furious, NBA Jam Deluxe, and the Big Buck Hunter. We're seeing images of Ms. Pac-Man coming. Looks like this is coming out. So, you know, a lot of people adding the Deluxe form factor in their arcades, and we talked about this on the last episode of Arcades Anonymous, and G.I. Joel and I were talking, and I said, you know, a lot of people are slowly switching these out, and I don't think they're going to make a Deluxe for everything, but I think that a lot of people are going to be very choosy on if they're going to have a riser or not in their arcade. And I always love this artwork. I'm not a big fan of the games list on the Arcade1up Ms. Pac-Man compared to the Class of 81, but a lot of people, you know, a lot of it's the look, right? And just to have a dedicated Ms. Pac-Man with the right blue, the pinks, the yellow scheme on here will look really good in your arcade. And speaking of Deluxe, right next to Ms. Pac-Man is the NBA Jam Tournament Edition, and this is their newest Deluxe cabinet from Arcade1up. I gotta be honest with you, you know, I'm pretty much sold on the Shack Jam. We've talked about it all the time. I'm not saying I'm not gonna go with the Deluxe. You know, the thing is, it just depends where I'm at that point. Now this is like an October 6th release. But with the Deluxe, you know, to get your riser list, just so everything kind of co-aligns here. They will all, just imagine this is the Arcade1up, that's the Arcade1up, and you know, they kind of resemble each other. Versus you bring in Shack Jam, and it's, you know, it's going to be a lot bigger, obviously. It's going to be a tough decision when it comes down to it. It just depends if there's a big sale on Shack Jam, which I've been predicting. Full games list is available on BuyStuffArcades.com. Looks like 225 games total, and you can see their shooters, flying and racing games on here. I want to say there's 172 on my Ridge Racer mod, so you're getting more, and you know what some of those games are. You're going to have shooting games. House of the Dead 2 really caught my eye. Do you imagine playing this game with the Star Wars flight yoke? Another notable shooter is the Operation Thunderbolt. Not seeing Operation Wolf the OG, but Thunderbolt is on here. Along with, imagine playing Paperboy with that flight yoke. You do get your 3 original Star Wars games that come with Arcade1up on this mod, and there's some incentives. You get the Star Wars Arcade 32X, Flight of the Falcon, Shadows of the Empire. There are a ton of different games on here that the other mods don't have. And look at Terminator 2, another shooter. So out of the 225 games here, you're going to see a lot of new stuff, which makes you think, will we see a shooting cab, a shooting mod from Buy Stuff Arcades in the future? Look, the 225th game on that list was Saxon. So for all of us that have been wanting to play this, you know, have Arcade1up come out with this cabinet. You're getting this on the Star Wars Buy Stuff mod, and you know, I've been focusing on light guns for a while, but having these types of games, I mean, this would be really fun playing with that Star Wars flight yoke. And again, this is why I wanted to come here to look at some of these arcades, to just imagine. Something that I am disappointed in is Road Blasters is not on there, and that could be from not having the right main file, but I would have been happy with the NES version. I mean, I know it wouldn't have looked like this, but you know, there are Dreamcast N64 titles on that mod. Just looking at this control here, I mean, this is so close. You got the buttons right here. You got the trigger right here where my index finger is. This is so close to that Star Wars flight yoke, and I know you can bring your own games too. I bought the plug and play, but to have this would have just been. And the thing is the gas pedals. That mod, you know, you can choose from different types of pedals that you want. So this would have been just like having road blasters, and I am bummed out. You know, when I saw the list, I went right away to see where's road blasters, and it wasn't there. But there's so much incentive on the other games. It's still a must buy as far as I'm concerned. It's just this would have been unbelievable. I understand that playing House of the Dead with the light gun is the way to go, but you know, playing with that flight yoke could seem like a cannon launcher, kind of like that Jurassic Park game. It'd be a lot of fun. You know, when I bought Operation Wolf for the iArcade, I didn't have my Sinden light gun yet, and I played with the joystick, and it played just as fine. It's better when you have a gun, but you can still play a game whether you have anyone knows what I'm talking about that's modded before. You don't necessarily need the Sinden light gun. You can always use the controls and be able to play the game. Confirmation on Time Crisis. Not Time Crisis 2, but Time Crisis. Pretty much looking at the red theme here. Arcade1up, I heard, is very close. We should be seeing this, and I heard it looks amazing. Time Crisis will feature a pedal, and it should be improved from the pedal we saw the first time around. And the gun itself, looking on the gun on Time Crisis 2, it's very solid, very sturdy. It is commercial grade. You can see the line here is a lot thicker than what we're used to on a Sinden, a T2, Big Buck Hunter. This will have a button that will use in place of the pedal if you want to use that, or step on the pedal. We'll see how Arcade1up's gun compares to the actual gun at the arcade for Time Crisis. News about Big Buck Hunter coming out as a Deluxe. You can just imagine here that, is it possible to find a Big Buck Hunter now? Yes. But it does have a riser, and you know you needed that riser booster. The screen was too low. And the marquee didn't light up. So does the new Deluxe light up first of all? It doesn't have the riser. It just fits that arcade, and that's what Arcade1up is selling us. They're going with the Deluxe this year, and whether that carries on into next year, it's conformity, right? They all want the same looking cabinets in your arcade. And if you don't have the same look, just compared to how Time Crisis looks with pedals, Big Buck Hunter doesn't, you know, whether you have risers or not, that's not a bad thing either. It's good to have some variety in your arcade room. It's something 19K Fox has said over and over. You don't want everything looking the same. I mean, just looking at this arcade, everything looks different, right? I mean, you just see everything in here does look different. It's not all the same styles of arcades. You have 4 players, 2 players. You have flight sticks. Pac-Man is off too, just like Ms. Pac-Man. You wonder if the announcement of Ms. Pac-Man in the Deluxe form factor was so excited for both that they fried their circuits. But just looking at this cabinet, I pointed this out in the past, Arcade1up nailed the Deluxe form factor. I mean, it just resembles this. We see this at Best Buy all the time, right? I always point out that bubble right here, but I mean, you see that recessed monitor, the coin door. The artwork is identical to what we're seeing at the store, and that's what Arcade1up is doing this year. Resembling these cabinets, when you just see that shape as much as they can. This looks great in your arcade. It's the year of the Deluxe. I kind of thought it was going to be the year of the XL, maybe Pro, but that's always a year, you know, 2 years down the road. They're going to go with a lot of different Deluxe form factors, and you're going to have the decision. You know, do you want to swap them all out like this, or wait for the deals on the cabinets with the risers. Across from that Pac-Man is the Q*bert. And I mean, just looking at the year here, 1982. As much as we want a Q*bert cab, how many people, other than people who are familiar with coming to arcades, free plays, are going to know what Q*bert is? They know what Pac-Man is. I mean, Pac-Man's, you know, he's had plenty of cartoons. You just see him. You see it at Kohl's. You see all this Pac-Man merchandise. You don't see a lot of Q*bert. I don't know how much of this they're gonna sell if it's compared to like Dragon's Lair. The fact that Dragon's Lair is still there, they knocked it down to $4.99. That's the cheapest we've seen it, and it's still there. How low do they have to go to sell Dragon's Lair? Going with Q*bert, I don't think Arcade1up is gonna take that chance just yet. And if they do, they can only make like 350 of these cabinets. Or they're just gonna sit around and then they're gonna end up going for a lot less and they're gonna consider that as a loss. It's one of those games that is on that new Star Wars mod. And you know, we're not getting this flight stick, but you'll be able to play Afterburner on an Arcade1up. And this is good. And again, this is stuff like, is this the year of the multi-cades? I mean, the more this goes on, I think it is. I mean, we're seeing different stuff from iArcade. Big news from AtGames landing more licensable titles and mods from Buy Stuff, that every mod they do from here on out is going to have more and more. This one's got more than their previous mod, and it's all going to lead into what's going to happen with those shooting cabs. Are we going to actually get more shooting games? Because we saw a couple coming on this mod for Star Wars, but to play Afterburner, this is going to be really fun. I can't wait to get this mod. It's very exciting. It's going to turn your Arcade1up into a Buy Stuff Arcades feature cabinet. X-Men was one of the sales that I did acknowledge over the course of the last 7 days. Kohl's had the best deal as far as I thought, and I don't like to get lured with Kohl's Cash, but for $4.99 you get the $100 Kohl's Cash, brings it down to $3.99. That's what we saw this go for the last time they ran a 24-hour sale. It didn't sell out at $3.99, and it's not going to sell out at $4.99. We'll see what the next sale is the next time they put X-Men on a 24-hour sale, probably from Best Buy. 19K Fox just did an unboxing of his Unico Phoenix monitor series. He went with the 26-inch for $299. There's also a 19-inch for $199. Now the 19-inch is a little pricey if you're considering using this for a swap on your Golden Tee or Shack Jam. But if you have a real arcade, or if you're afraid of buying a real arcade because what if that CRT goes out, this is definitely the way to go. That's what kept me, you know, if I ever came across one for a great deal, this is reassuring. If that screen ever goes, my cousin does have a Cruisin' USA cabinet. If it's ever an option that I could buy it from him, now I will. I'll really consider it, because we can go through Unico and get a replacement just like that. So you can just imagine a lot of these other games will have on that Buy Stuff mod, and I just thought that coming to the Garcade would be a great show and tell kind of thing. We'll go off of some of the games on the list. Be sure to check them out. They are available on the Buy Stuff Arcade site. I'll try to have a link for it in the description, but a lot of incentives to upgrade your Star Wars cab with the potential games we just saw at the Garcade. You can just see how popular these games are. People want to play them, and we saw this at stores, now at the Garcade. $20, so much activity. Sales have come and gone, not what we were really expecting. You know what the interesting thing is about this whole sale we've seen the last 7 days is I've been saying Black Friday in July for months, and technically these sales came in before Black Friday, before Prime Day. Now Circle Week was going on, And then the whole Cyber Week at Kohl's, where they were giving you rebates on the Kohl's Cash, you know, all these incentives. But once Black Friday went away and Prime Day ended, the sales for Arcade1up MVSX still going on. Is this the best we're gonna see out of them? I don't think so. I think this was all a hook and dagger to see if we would budge, and better sales are coming. And At Games is currently running a 33% off on all of their products. Arcade packs, pinball packs, At Games Legends, Legends Pinball. It's good to see everyone jumping on these sales, and hopefully, again, these aren't the best prices either, but it's something. And the closer we get to new releases like 4Ks, you'll see products like these come down, along with more Arcade1ups will come down once At Games does get more license. Might be the best price on a mini fridge I've seen in a long time, and look at the size of this. Can you believe this is what this channel's come to? No worries, we came to the Walmart with the Arcade1ups, and not only that, there's 3 NFL Blitz here. You know, currently $5.99. Doesn't mean you need to pay $5.99. I paid $5.99. These will drop. I didn't expect NFL Blitz per se to drop during the Black Friday in July or Prime Day, but if you go online, you'll see that this Pac-Man is currently unavailable. So just going to Walmarts that you know will stock Arcade1ups, because we all know that not every Walmart's going to carry these. You could run into these, and you see they're back to that $3.79. People took advantage of the $2.99 sale on Yoga Flame, which is currently not here. You do have 2 MK30s, the Pac-Man, 3 NFL Blitz. So the next time they do drop these, hopefully it will go lower than $2.99. It will entice people because they're going to come here, they're going to see $3.79. I'm not going to pay that. $5.99. They drop it a little bit, and for, you know, consumers coming to Walmart will look at that as a good deal and be tempted to pull the trigger. Fragile. And it is good to see that there is one PlayStation 5 here. I mean, we go to Best Buy a lot, Target, and I haven't seen, I know they're running an incentive at Best Buy. I want to say that the digital PlayStation 5 was $3.99, if that's a standard price. I'm just not up to speed on PlayStation 5s, but I do like to point them out while we're at stores for $4.99. The sales weren't the greatest, but Walmart did offer a good deal on Big Blue for $3.79. I think other retailers will jump on a Big Blue for a $300 range very soon, along with Killer Instinct. I think we're going to see sales on other cabs than the ones we just saw, just in case Best Buy doesn't have to do, you know, that whole price match thing. Sales are coming, just on different cabs. So this dawns on me yesterday. I'm looking at McFarlane website, and there's a new Batman for pre-order, and everyone's got them. Amazon, GameStop, you're gonna be able to find him everywhere. It's the superpowers. You know, if you look on there, it's 12 and over. This is what kids are recognizing right now. I mean, this is what's new, right? You see Batman, especially the fact that when you look at Batman, chances are he's all black, right? I mean, you don't see that blue and gray uniform. I mean, this is what you're seeing. I mean, you know, kids know who Superman is, and Superman pretty much, I mean, the rare times you see Superman in a black, all black, but you know, looking at these superpowers, this is something that I was waiting for them to give us some kind of a deal. $9.97 is not too much to ask. When I've seen Deathstroke, for example, online for like $15 plus shipping, this isn't what the kids are looking for. I mean, why is there so many of these here? You know, it's been like 3-4 weeks since we saw this. It's still the same figures. Nobody bought them. The adults are the ones who bought Superman and Batman. It wasn't kids. And Darkseid. It's kind of like Raw Thrills and, you know, retro arcades is, you know, people identify the Raw Thrills because they see them. You know, people come to Target and they know this is what's in the movies right now, whether it's tanking or not. They know these characters. The adults are paying for this. This is why it's the same vehicles. I mean, just look at all these Batwings. No one's gonna pay $29.97. I've decided that I might start collecting these and just taking it small, but you know, I'm not gonna pull the trigger today because You know, there's 17 Batwings here. And the Supermobiles. I don't know if it's the artwork, and this is something I wouldn't even open up. That whole Superpowers logo. It's just classic for me. And there's characters, like if I started collecting, yeah, I'd obviously get Nightwing and John Stewart, Deathstroke. But this Joker guy, not necessarily a big fan of number 6 here. The Batman Who Laughs. Not sure about Wonder Woman either, but you'd be able to find every other character here. Like if we went far enough, we'll find a Flash. Just found a Darkseid. It's like somebody just took a huge bite out of the packaging. It's unfortunate because I might have just got him. I haven't seen Darkseid up in person yet, but that's pretty cool. It's unfortunate about that, but it's a wonder why he's still here, right? We'll wrap up my thoughts at Best Buy on the next sales I think we're gonna see. And we're already greeted with those Arcade1ups. Prices are back to where they were. I don't think for long though. So many Best Buys lately, I thought I was in a different one. What a better place to close it out than standing in front of the Deluxe, which we just saw at the Garcade. That Pac-Man was just, I mean, it was just so close. I mean, you know, that whole curve. Just right off to the Arcade1ups, I just want to point out the Ultimate Warrior here. Oh, he's a sucker for nostalgia. And I stand corrected, deal ends tomorrow. So, midnight, Sunday, when we get, as a recording of this, when you're watching this Monday, these sales are, I don't really like to even call them sales right now. I'm Best Buy at $4.99. I mean, again, the incentives at Kohl's, like there has to be some reason. Like they can price match all they want. They're not giving you $100 Kohl's cash. At least you're getting that from Kohl's, that 10% off from like Wayfair. $3.99 for MK30s. I mean, regardless of these cabs, again, these aren't the ones that I thought we would see on sale. I think Dragon Slayer, I think it's worth it. I mean, this is the fact of it's Dragon Slayer. I thought that the Black Friday would be a huge deal. I mean, $315 for T2. I mean, this is a good deal. I know I said, you know, we'll see something lower. I think we will in time. Like if you want to like buckle in and wait till the end of the year, yeah, I'm sure we'll see it for $199. Or you can get it now for $100 more and enjoy it. I didn't expect to see Shack Jam yet, but Pac-Mania, I mean, for $3.99. What I'm getting at here is Black Friday in July isn't necessarily the best time to buy an Arcade1up. There's going to be other times, and whether they're the 24-hour sales or the actual Black Friday or just like closer to Christmas, we're not seeing what we saw last year with Ridge Racer and T2 at $3.99, even though we can get T2 at Best Buy right now for $3.15. The whole Ridge Racer thing at $3.99 was a great deal. We didn't see that this year. Big Blue, Killer Instinct, I think we're really going to see across the board sales. You know, if you didn't pull the trigger on Walmart for $3.79, I think you're going to get it lower. And it's a marketing tool. It's a sales tactic that all these retailers are using to see who budges. And the reason we're not going to see X-Men and other cabinets right now that are on sale, they're not going to price match. So if somebody did go ahead and say, you know what, I'm giving in right now, I'm going to get Shack Jam for $5.99, and then they drop it down a week later, they're going to have to price match that. It would just completely, you know, void their current sale, along with X-Men. We did wait to get that Hook Lion-O Mountain Ice figure. This one has also caught my attention, and this is why I say, you know, I want to get into collecting. I mean, look at the Green Ranger. Just the marketing here on that Power Ranger logo. So the Green Ranger, $55, along with T-Rex here, which, you know, I'm a big fan of these Super 7, and when it comes down to collecting, you know, the Power Rangers, this is what I was referring to. I may go back to some of those stores we've been to, and you know, you see the Green Ranger's dagger. You know, when he pulled that fluid out, it was about to get real. Like finding that from the 90s would be hard to not buy, along with the Lion-O's sword, the Sword of Omens. But these figures, leaving them in the package, like, I think it would look really cool on those shelves in the basement, right across from the 3 arcades in the workout room. But when the price is right, currently at $55, I will be picking up the T-Rex. Why did Cookie Crisp get rid of those robbers though? The marketing was great. I stand corrected once again. The prices have gone up, but not as high as they once were. It was $55 for the Lion-O Hook Mount Nice figure that we recently picked up, currently sitting at $50.99 right now. And Leonardo from Turtles 3 is sitting at $45.99, originally $55. And Dragon Sword has went back up from $17 to $25. We will keep our eye on these sales and monitor when it's a good time to pick up the next Arcade1up. And my new favorite spot in Menominee Falls to do the outro. Special shout out to the Quarter Deck Arcade. He was out jogging with his girlfriend today and he couldn't convince her to go across this bridge. Very hot out. I'm sure they ran earlier this morning, but when I'm in the falls, I like this new spot. It's a good place to do the outro, just like the intro with the foxes. And I know a lot of people have asked about that. It's just conformity. Is that a word? Just to get familiar with the spot, that when we do the opening, I always like to include Mr. Fox, and there's a ton of them in that shopping area. Just like I want to include this area right here as our outro when we're in Menominee Falls. The videos are going to take place in several different places, but when we're out here, this is a good spot. We'll see what the next round of sales will turn out to be. You know, like we talked about, Killer Instinct, Big Blue, we'll see a lot of those $2.99 or less sales. It just might take closer to the end of the year. If right now it's not the best time to buy something, that's why I went with the Buy Stuff Arcades mod. You know, a cabinet that I'm hardly even playing, to add all this replayability to something for, you know, it's not a cheap mod, you know, if you're gonna get everything, but it's just, it's important, right? It's important to utilize. You bought it for a reason, you want more out of it. It's the same thing that happened with me with Ridge Racer. Now I'm gonna be able to get maximum replayability out of this stuff, along with, you know, changing out your marquees. If you're not gonna get anything and you wanna make your other arcades just stand out, great time to mod. Add stuff to your coexisting arcades before you're bringing in something new, and then at the point where you gotta get rid of something. Because there's more cabinets, new cabinets coming. Ms. Pac-Man's coming, Time Crisis is coming, and they're both gonna look awesome. You know, I mean, they're not gonna give us something we're not gonna wanna have. They've held out on these for a long time for a reason. Looking forward to it. If you wanna follow me on Instagram, PD7 Lucky's Gym, get behind the scenes on some of these walk and talks, and some additional pictures of what Lucky and I are doing when we're not doing walk and talks. I wanna thank everybody for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. We're holding out, Best Buy.